Are you ready for the old world revamp that nobody wanted, but we're getting anyway?
Yep.
Look at this logo. The Blizzard Entertainment logo here. Anything look a bit funky about it?
You've thrown that through. See, that is one generated by an AI, but not upscaled by an AI.
Is it?
Well, yeah, a good upscaler shouldn't do that. Wait, what?
I didn't make this.
No way.
Well, here we go. Remember the up-res graphic settings in the classic Kata build? According to Marlin, this was a couple days ago. 98,000 up-res textures. Please stop doing that, computer. Doesn't replace the originals. So when it ships, the up-res textures will likely be this option, which is from Mr. James Sutter. The new up-res graphics option.
Yeah.
So, are you ready to see what World of Warcraft's going to look like soon?
Yeah.
Look at how smooth that is.
I'm totally happy with that. Oh, wait, sorry. This is an affront to life itself.
Yep. Look at this.
Oh, definitely an affront.
Yeah.
I'm angry.
Yeah. And some of you, because obviously you're watching a stream and you're watching an Ocean Window and doesn't have it, you may not be able to exactly see the difference. You can see some cases. So obviously this man's not changed, but very smooth.
See, some things are good, some things are bad.
Yeah.
Like, you see in this image, right? Yeah. I think the pumpkins look really good for what they are. But then the high levels of detail on the ground texture, those don't look that good. And one of the problems with the AI upscaling is, everything will be upscaled. But you know the way it's like, depending on the size of the actual texture, how that's then applied in game, some things may look higher resolution than others, and then that really messes up how our brain perceives like depth and a whole bunch of things like that.
So we do have a few before and afters for you, because these are all afters from the thing, right? This is me today in Stormwind, not in Classic. On live.
Is he? Is
obviously not in Classic. No, that's a guy, that's his name, like JSP Warrior or something, was just standing there. And then they waved at me and left.
Actually, Matt, that you've included him really makes your point.
I don't have an after for him, sadly.
I feel like you didn't have a choice to include him because that's just where he was.
Yeah, I also didn't have it before for him, which would be challenging.
But do you know what's amazing?
Yeah.
He looks like he's been photoshopped in from a different game.
He does.
Not to blow anyone's minds, but WoW looks a bit different now than back then.
Do you know where he wouldn't look out of place?
Or Ibos. Sorry.
In this version of the auction house.
Now, like some bits of that do look pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, it's literally a different auction house because it's from Classic. But you can see the extra detail. If the stream is showing you decent quality enough, you'll see the extra detail and the clarity on like those textures. Whereas here in the live game, the blur is shit.
Yeah.
And this is just Dragonflight. Where are the shadows? Yes, so this isn't actually the light. This isn't from the game.
These are unlit.
These are unlit scenes.
Okay.
That's
actually
what I call is built. That Steven made, because it's not live in game. I should have opened with that.
This
the textures are applied,
is
but not
almost certainly the most important point before you see any of this. So you take a look at a game like Halo Infinite, and of course, we remember it got absolutely ravaged at E3. The thing that did that was light. The face on Mars. Like, the face on Mars. Yeah. It's like a picture of a face on Mars.
Well, very descriptive. Very descriptive.
But it's a bunch of rocks, right? Well, depending on who you ask. But they've flown over the same area with a more modern, lander, different lighting conditions. Not lander, sorry, orbiter. And it doesn't look like a face at all. You can see how if you squinted your eyes and lowered the resolution, it would kind of begin to look like a face. But you look at it like, it's clearly not a face. Because of, yes, the resolution, but also the lighting. It is why, think about like, you see those big professional photo shoots, sort of contribute to sort of people's body image being a bit funky, or at least, that was the discourse back in the day. Now I suppose it's Instagram. Like, the thing that's one of the most important things is lighting. As an example, no matter, we've just any pro camera, it does not matter how good your camera is if your lighting's bad. Lighting just absolutely changes and means everything in something like this.
Yeah, it's anyone who goes to the gym regularly very much knows that.
Yeah.
Because you're like, there is me in the mirror in my bedroom. oh my God, I am a sludge man. You go, there's the mirror in my bathroom. Oh, holy shit, I look great. All right, cool. Yeah, so that works.
Oh, I'll have to experiment with lighting then.
Yeah.
So that is basically just to say this is inherently an extremely okay. If you have that knowledge and you're just looking at the texture, totally fair and good. And I'm absolutely not accusing Steven of anything improper here.
No, this is literally him just putting textures in a scene to show off the textures for the crack.
Yeah, and I'm really glad he did it. It's really cool. And when I look at some of those textures, I actually think that they're, in some cases, like obviously not everything's great, but many are a big W.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see here, but like just because of like the wideness of the shot and how not close it is in a lot of cases. But this is like the Mage Quarter did not look like this in Classic. It did not look this clean.
But that still looks like the Mage Quarter to me.
Yeah.
That looks like how I remember it.
Yeah, and this is it on live. Obviously it's lit and there's a fucker there. But you can see just how much blurrier everything is when you look in it. And look at the state of some of the stuff.
I have absolutely
comparatively.
I have absolutely no problem with say that comparison Stephen made. Once that's lit decently, should all be good. Now the thing is, like any process that is being applied to 98,000 assets, you're gonna have some issues somewhere, probably.
Yeah, so obviously that tweet is dead and embed. Sweet. Will Twitter show us this without logging in or not? It won't. Cool. Fuck us, I guess. Will it show us any of this?
Hang on, I'll follow it. I think I'm logged in on this laptop.
Sweet.
I try to be logged in onto the bird website.
Just because there's 1,000 billion things.
It's the bottom one from Marleman?
Yeah, Marleman, yeah. Can I just embed this instead?
There isn't an image. Or do you mean the images in his
in his what do you call it?
In his follow-ups?
Yeah. Because he has a couple examples of straight texture comparisons, which will be good to see. And obviously, one of the reasons is the top of this thing.
Yeah.
You're not
this abomination.
Yeah, this abomination of Blizzard. Someone called it something that was very funny, but you can see it. Those aren't letters basically. And look at the state of how messy the job is of that. It's not done perfect in some scenarios. That's for sure. Yeah. Hello, keyboard turner. These are mostly okay, but they need more work in the armor textures. Upscale them after assembling the textures, then split the texture back up. Yeah, so that's why this is in the beta builds and is not there yet and doesn't work. I'm assuming because there's plenty of stuff to go just yet. But as I'm trying to think of this from the principle of it, as opposed to worrying with the details, which will happen later. I think if they if stuff like this just looks enough better under lighting, then what it will do is go a whole way to make the general so much of the experience just a little better without looking worse. Because one of the things World of Warcraft's always worked well with is that its art direction has historically been very good. Realistically, it looks great for its time. Even going around Classic now looks great. This just looks like they applied a Super Eagle filter like a SNES emulator. It's nowhere near as bad as that. They've done a surprisingly good job of preserving detail and stuff. Because there's a case.
I googled Super Eagle and I've got the results for the Nigeria national football team.
Bro, let me show you. They can't see this just yet, but let me show you. Let me show you something. I will show this to the class as well.
What is Super? Apparently, Super Eagle is
Super Eagle is one of the filters in one of the SNES emulators.
It's also the name of the Nigeria national football team.
Yeah. So.
All right, Google.
Yeah. So.
Can they see this now?
Not just yet. I'm trying to find the good version. Okay, here we go. Look at this is Grandia. 97 versus HD. Let's just play through it. Let's just play, please. Just see if I can find some close-up shots. Look at the absolute state of that.
So I can see that, but they can't.
Yeah, they can.
Oh, they can.
Look at the absolute state of how blurry and shitty. And they're just applied through a filter.
Is this a screen space filter or what's the implementation?
I actually don't know the implementation specifically, but they just went, how do we make this HD? Let's apply a dog shit filter to upscale and smooth out our textures.
In the future.
It is actual soul versus soulless, yeah.
I mean, actually, have you heard a lot of what Jensen's been talking about?
No.
Oh, I mean, yeah, Nvidia obviously are going fairly hard. One of the ways to see this is that like a lot of the basically AI compute, imagine it as like digital oil. Yeah. I'm pretty sure the digital oil analogy has been used for many grifts and schemes. But
look at this lack of soul. Obviously, there's some like extra work done there. And a lot of times it's not all just filtered.
Actually, funny, on the topic of Nvidia, they have a bunch of mod tools. I forget the name of it. And some of the things that people have done with those Nvidia mod tools that have some built-in AI upscaling are really impressive. Yeah. But that's basically like Nvidia's magic, like, I don't know, going in and massaging things. I don't understand it.
Whoever like scored those things onto the ground really need to get their lines straight. Look at the state of the ones on the right.
Yeah.
They look like my fucking lines. Jesus Christ.
Same. So fair to say, well, okay, number one, this being done to pixel art is
substantially worse yet.
To copy words of a very smart man, an affront to life itself.
Yeah.
Because it is like so...
Missing Water is HD Remaster exclusive.
But it's also like...
But yeah.
Oh, it's wrong on so many levels, and also it's pixel art. Typically back then was designed for display on a CRT.
Yeah. So that's a display of like...
I'm doing the Twitter clap thing.
That's a display of like the worst possibility. And there's a little bit here where like Stephen has an example where when it comes to like a very good detail on a small scale, it goes a little bit wrong. Mm-hmm. You can't replicate detail all that well.
I think they have done,
but for repeated detail, you can do a good job.
A surprisingly good job.
Yeah.
And I hope the implementation goes well. Tool use is what we do as humans, and I think this is a good example of tool use. Yeah, it's a weird way to put it, but I don't think that this feels tremendously like this. Does not look like some cold, cynical thing. Do you know what this looks like? It looks like an engineer got excited about something they could do, and they went and talked to their lead, and now it can be a feature. Yeah. This feels reasonable. It feels respectful. I suppose it is interesting just given the gaming is littered. I remember the Assassin's Creed, was it 3 or whatever? No. It was the Assassin's Creed remasters for the Ezio stuff. And it's like the lighting, just things don't look good. And that is an example of like whenever a thing is farmed out to a third-party studio and it's just not fair. You look at the Grand Theft Auto remakes, and I mean, I have so much empathy for the developers who are behind the GTA remakes. Like they were pretty awful, but it wasn't their fault. Like they were, we looked at the size, we did a report on it, and we looked at the size of their team. We looked at just everything they had to work with, and it's like, is this a bad result? Yes. Is it kind of commendable given the conditions? Yeah. So, this doesn't look soulless to me.
No, it doesn't at all. I was using that as a comparison for how bad it could be, basically.
Yeah.
There is an example here, which I think is quite nice, which is an NPC, just a camera. Just so like you get maybe a better vision of what it kind of looks like the minute of textures on a model. So maybe 150 is about fine. You can see there's clearly a lot of blur on them all over the place. There's a lot of like what looks kind of like color banding under that lighting there. And then you see him fresh, and some of the lines don't exactly add up. But he just isn't a blurry boy. He himself is a blurry boy, but yeah, armor and stuff isn't, which is nice. So that's your old world revamp. Which isn't an old world revamp. It's literally just, they're going to make the game look better, asterisk, in the vast majority of cases. Eventually, if they deem to ship it, and also deem to port it to, because at this point, I imagine you'd be porting this to like 11.1 or maybe 11.0 if you're going fast enough, as opposed to this isn't going to go in the beta build and then go straight to live on modern. But yeah, but hell yeah. That's us.
There we go.
I look forward to seeing how good the game is. That's the part that immediately struck me was that this is going to apply to, the whole game as we know it today, as opposed to just a classic thing. It's like everything like from Cata and before will just look better now. Which, I don't know about you, but I do spend an awful lot of time in zones that were built before Cata, considering Azeroth was built a wee bit before that. The vast majority of it, at least.